This is Jay Jaganathan, board certified neurosurgeon, and today we're talking about an article that recently went viral about a man who was missing about 90% of his brain and was found to have a fairly normal lifestyle. So, how does this happen? This paper was actually originally published in 2007 in Lancet Neurology, and it's about a French civil servant who suffered from a condition called aqueductal stenosis, which is basically a condition where one of the spinal fluid conducting passageways in the brain gets blocked. This results in accumulation of spinal fluid, which tends to cause pressure in the brain, and the patient underwent a procedure called a shunt, where that extra fluid was diverted to his heart, called a ventriculoatrial shunt, to relieve the pressure. At some point, that shunt stopped working, and the fluid tended to reaccumulate, compressing the brain to a thin rim, which you can see on this picture. So how is it possible that somebody can survive and have a relatively normal life with such a small amount of brain that's present? The answer to this really lies in what's called plasticity, which is the ability of the brain neurons to remodel both structurally and functionally. We know that plasticity, although we don't know what causes it, tends to peak within childhood, particularly during the first year of life. In certain conditions, such as intractable epilepsy, we can actually do surgeries called a hemispherectomy, where we can actually remove half of the brain in the child, and the child can go on to lead a fairly normal life, even though they're missing half of their brain. And the reason for that is because these neurons that are in the other part of the brain can remodel and can assume some of the functions of the areas that were taken out. And undoubtedly, this is what happened in this specific patient, which allowed him to live a fairly normal life, even though a large portion of his brain was missing or damaged. In this particular case, it appeared that the patient underwent what's called a third ventriculostomy, where a hole was made within the fluid-filled passageways to alleviate some of the pressure, and apparently he continues to do well.